Hey, my name is Rowan Smith and I want to welcome you to the Training for Trekking podcast. Now, this is the world's very first podcast which is entirely dedicated to helping you train, prepare and conquer your upcoming hike, trek or mountain adventure. So once a week, I'm going to be giving you quality and practical information on the subjects of physical preparation for trekking, dealing with altitude and nutrition on the trail, so you can know everything you need to be doing to have the best chance of a safe, enjoyable and successful adventure. So now you know what you're in for. Let's get into today's episode. Alright, hello guys. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking through how the simple things and some of the smallest things you can do in your training really does add up when it comes to your training performance, your recovery, your pain prevention, and just, preventing niggles, little bits and pieces coming up in your training. So essentially, for all of the hikers that I work with, regardless of if they're a first-time hiker who's preparing for their first, full-day hike, which they've never done before, all the way up to my hardcore mountaineers who are going to some of the absolute hardest, highest mountains in the world, every single one of them in their training gets some type of short recovery and mobility routine. So this particular routine, it varies from person to person regarding the specifics, but usually it involves, a combination of some simple rolling and release work. So rolling with a ball, with a foam roller or something like that, and as well as a little bit of stretching. Now, these routines, they typically go anywhere from 8 minutes to about 20 minutes in length. They're pretty short. And they just basically involve just working through certain muscles in the body, just giving them a little bit of love, giving them some massage with that roller, doing a bit of stretching and this and that. Really simple stuff. And this is something that I ask all of my clients to do, once every week, maybe twice a week if they're having tough weeks, and use it when they're sort of getting achy, sore, or whatever it may be. And this is something, every single one of my hikers gets. And often throughout a training process, as I always say, training processes are never smooth, they're never linear, there's always a lot going on. Often I get people sort of, message me going, look, Rowan, when an ankle pain is beginning to creep up. And they're like, oh, my muscles are getting a bit sore, or maybe, I'm getting a little bit of tightness in this joint, or maybe something else is creeping up, and what can I do? And typically the first thing I ask people, or the first thing I look at, is I sort of say, look, have you been doing everything in your program? Meaning, have you been doing the strength sessions we've been laying out? Meaning, have you been doing the cardio sessions we've been doing? Have you been doing all the hikes we sort of said we were going to aim for? And also, have you been doing the recovery and mobility work? And 9 times out of 10, when someone comes to me and they say, look, I've got a bit of an ankle pain creeping up, 9 times out of 10, people come down to saying they've been skipping the recovery and mobility, which is a funny thing in itself, because the recovery and mobility sessions that I program, they're always super short. They're always, as I said, between 20 minutes maximum. They're the shortest sessions we program. They don't require very much effort at all. They don't require thinking. You can do it in front of the TV. But they're always the ones that get dropped because, I guess they don't really feel like training, in all honesty. We feel like we're training when we're doing our strength training. We feel like we're training when we're doing our cardio. We feel like we're having a good time when we're out hiking. But the recovery and mobility, it's like, okay, that feels nice, but whatever it may be. But when it comes down to this type of thing, is these little things, this little application, just giving a little love to your body throughout the training process, of doing a little bit of stretching, a little bit of rolling, a little bit of whatever. The little things really do add up, especially if you can be consistent with them and you can be proactive with them. So as opposed to waiting until you're sore, or you're getting your achy muscles or you're really tired, proactively doing little bits and pieces in your training, it can really add up. It can really go a long way. Now, this stuff doesn't have to be complicated and it doesn't want to be time intensive. As I said, 8 to 20 minutes. And typically for most hikers, I'd say you could get away with 10 minutes a week of this type of thing if you do it most weeks. But if you are struggling with aches or pains, which are creeping up in your training, just ask yourself, are you spending time on self-care throughout the week? Are you being proactive with it? Because if not, maybe this is something you should incorporate into your week. Maybe you should get around this. Have a sit down. Have a think about, okay, what can I do on this front? What stretches do I enjoy? What sort of rolling or releases do I enjoy? Do I think that's going to get the muscles that typically get a little bit sore or whatever it may be? And then sit down and put yourself together a little 10-minute routine. This type of 10-minute routine can make all the difference in a training program. Not only can it feel really good, but it can just help the body chill out, relax, and just be a bit proactive on that recovery side of things. And I really do think it can go a long, long, long way. So my mission to you, the hiker that is listening, if you don't do one of these, have a sit down right now. List out 4 or 5 or 6 different exercises, stretches or releases you can do that you know, that you're familiar with, that you like, that feels good. List them down, put them together in a little session, and set yourself the intention to do them once a week. As I said, this shouldn't take a lot out of your week. It should only be about 10 minutes. You don't want this sucking up your week, sucking up your time, and getting in the way of your other training. But about 10-minute routine once a week, it really can go a long, long, long way. Now, if you were interested in any particular stretches, if you were interested in particular mobility exercises, or you just needed a bit of help putting together some ideas for this type of thing, what I'd love you to do is come and find me in the Training for Hiking and Trekking Facebook group. Now, inside that group, as I always say, always happy to share exercises, ideas, extra knowledge around these episodes. So if you do want a little bit extra help with this, to figure this out, come and join the group, post up in the group and just say, look, I want a little bit of help with this, and I can share a few exercises with you in there. But all in all, I really do think this is something that's incredibly powerful, incredibly valuable, and very underutilized for hikers and people in training in general. So I strongly encourage you to get around it, make it happen, and I think it really, really will make all the difference. So thank you so much for listening today. I really do hope you've enjoyed this, hope you got a bit out of it, and I really do hope it helped your training and your hiking moving forward. So have a lovely day, and we'll talk to you very, very soon.